धर्मक्षेत्रे कुरुक्षेत्रे समवेतायुयुत्सवः।
ओम सहनं भवतु सहनं भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनाधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै. Let us sit down, study together. Through our discussion, we sharpen each other's intellect. May we not bear any ill will to each other. Peace, 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 let peace prevail. And that's the motto of our discussion. Discuss the concepts of Gita. Through discussion, we'll learn from each other, try to formulate a concept. And that's why our session is not about dissecting every word, but about overall concept in different segments.
Yeah.
So here,
This is not a scholarly discussion, and that's important to say here because this chapter is interesting, to say the least.
Yes.
But it starts with a very obvious question that I had when we were doing the second chapter, Sankhya Yoga, and learning all about Atma, Paramatma. Sthita Pragya was the last thing that we learned. And the question comes, when you are a Sthita Pragya, why should you fight? How does it help Arjun in any ways? And you were saying Arjun is confused again.
Yes. And he starts in the first two verses that you told me about all this knowledge, and you are asking me to fight. So the question is, which one is better? And then Krishna says, the Sankhya Yoga, we talked about the path of knowledge, and there is also a path of action which is undertaken by the yogis. Yoga means
Jnana Yogena Sankhyanam, Karma Yogena Yoginam.
Yes.
So Sankhya Yoga is for people like Sankhya Yogi, but Karma Yoga is for yogis. He just puts it, in general, yeah.
Yes.
And the next verse, I love, it's just amazing. It's a very simple thing, but he puts it so nicely that everyone, you are destined to work. You cannot escape work. You cannot escape karma, right?
Yes. As long as we are living with this body in this material world, we cannot escape actions.
Yeah.
And these actions are derived from the three traits, Sattva, Raja, Tamas: inertia, extreme activity, extreme emotional upheaval, and calm, quiet, focused.
Yeah.
So these three traits, through permutation and combination, through different situation, will make us work. And there is always a stimulant of sense object and desire.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
and that's when he says that not even for a little moment can you escape doing some karma.
That's right. And he takes it to another extreme, that he says, well, even to maintain your body, you have to take recourse to actions.
Yeah, that is a little later, but yes, you're right.
So the bottom line is,
in the beginning, he says, which is the shloka 5 of third chapter, is karyate havashah karma sarva prakriti, gune that you are talking about. So that is the, rajogun, satogun, and tamogun. And it's interesting that, many times we feel that I do the work, but you are doing that work or that karma. There is a lot of factors behind that. And we will come to that, one by one here, because Krishna takes it to a different level, completely to a different level. And we have interpretation issues, but he just takes a big jump, as if, where did this simple karma become such a huge thing? But such a nice interpretation he has given here. So what he's saying is that even if you drop doing karma, you don't become a sannyasi. just because of that. And that's such an important thing, because many people, will give that, dress differently, and they will say, I'm not doing, the regular mundane karma, but inside it's a different story, right? That's
That is
what he's
right.
trying to say, that it's not just the outside karma, but also inside conversation. The inner conversation is also important, right?
That's right. That's right. He talks about that we have to engage into action.
Yeah.
Inaction or renunciation is not the choice. Okay, he mentions that in the verse. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, renunciation is a choice, but you have to control the indriya. That is what he's focusing on, rather than just outwardly this appearance. And I think it has happened in many places, especially in India. Many swamis, they have one appearance outside, but what they are doing inside their mind is different. Or sometimes, yeah, what is public is different and private is different.
Yeah, actually, the desire within
Yeah,
is still keeping the mind all occupied,
yeah,
even though outwardly one is not doing the actual action. So
yeah,
the point is that that is not a true yogic action.
right. I mean, discipline is important, that, you
Yeah,
control
discipline is,
yourself outside. That is also important.
yes,
But you still have to control your indriya and
exactly,
desires, right?
exactly. Because in one of the verses we say that,
Yeah, here it is. Niyatam kuru karma tvam karma jyayo he karmana. You do the karma that is, kind of suits your personality, or what you call swadharma. Gita also calls swadharma. That's niyatam karma. Some people say do the karma based on shastras or Vedas. I have a problem with that, because none of us read Vedas and Shastras these days, or most of us don't. So if we don't read, how do you know what to do? So, niyatam kuru, I mean, you have that inner kind of sense of what is right. I mean, it's like Arjun is destined, or no, I shouldn't say destined, but he's a warrior. He's a soldier. So a soldier's job is to fight. I mean,
yes,
it's some people say duty, but it's niyati. Well, when we talked, you and I talked, niyati and niyatam is different, right?
yes,
But I think he focuses also on karmendriyani sanjamya. You know, you have to control your sense organs.
yes. We talked in the previous sessions how from the sense objects afferent stimuli comes to the mind, and how mind by perception creates a image and tries to prompt an action, but it is our higher self, or intellect, which kind of filters it, and then through the organs of action we act. Now, the point he is making here is that yes, you are in this field of action, but one has to control the senses. It is the control of the senses that ultimately frees us.
So, Amitabh, I sometimes think about this: controlling the senses is not the same as suppressing the senses, right?
No, 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 no. Remember, we talked about this at the end of the second chapter.
Yeah.
He says that you might have stopped or repressed the senses, but the desire is always gnawing within you.
Yeah.
Okay, so as long as that happens, you are not freed.
So that's
Okay,
what he's saying this again here.
That's right.
That just by not doing or outside, you have to work your mind, how that mind is running around. Is that, inside, if you are wishing that you had that wonderful car or wonderful food, and outside you are saying, okay, I don't eat anything, then it's not complete.
That's right.
So for
Going
completion,
beyond,
you need both.
it is going beyond that state of desire, controlling the senses, going beyond the desire that is within. Both of them. Okay.
So once he says all this, and I was saying that he takes us to a different universe, the 3-9 or the ninth verse or ninth shloka
Yeah, that's an important one.
is important, but it is the first time the word yagya comes in Gita.
Yes.
And I think before I go into this, I'll just try to express my thoughts about like what is our driving force, because it will help us understand what is kind of he's talking about from 9 to 16 and beyond. So what I was saying, the desire is our main driving force. And yes, there is nothing good and bad about it. In this world, the world that we live in runs on desires. Good desires or good goals will take you to, like the whole education system that we have, especially in America or India, or we had, ashrams and all those things. Those were kind of, they are all meant from, there is a desire to have education, then we go and get educated. So desire is the driving force. It's a good driving force, but, bad desires can take you to bad outcomes. I mean, so there is that thing. And also the karma bondage is there and will continue to be there. Then there is another one which I say intrinsic, or there is another cycle that Krishna talks about here, where within that cycle you have this receiving and giving. It's a different economy. It's not tax and tariffs. You offer, you give, and you receive. So basically, that's what he is going to talk from 9 to 16, giving and receiving. And that is a cycle that you can be in there. And if you follow the right path, you can escape the bondage of the karma. But then there is another one he talks after that 16, and that is transcending that cycle. So he is transcending the cycle of desire pathway. He's transcending, let's say, intrinsic pathway. He's transcending that pathway, that ecosystem. And then there, Krishna says that if you do this, which is niskam karma, then you can also be free of bondage of the karma. So is that kind of clear? This is not from Gita, but this is my kind of structure that I have thought about.
Well, from 9 to 16, he talks about the yagna, which is sacrifice or offering or oblation. It says on the top of this whole system of this material world, there is Akshara, which is the Brahman. When we are in the material world, as we are created with the idea that we will offer our services to glorify our Creator and sustain this whole universe. Our job, therefore, is with a global view and it's a benevolent act to sustain this world and show our gratitude towards our Creator. Now, if we do our work with that motto, and therefore we do away with our ego desire combination, then we do get free of bondage. Now, in this, he also mentions that the book of Vedas, which is more of a ritualistic procedure, ritualistic injunctions, they are from the Brahman. Okay.
Yeah, so there is a little bit of, I think, not controversy, but different people express differently, because some people are saying
Yes.
that Brahma, one of the Brahma meaning is Vedas. The shlokas, I don't see Veda mentioned that way that you are mentioning. But yes, some people have translated that. And I do want to express my thanks to Professor Ramesh Patel, uh, who kind of, shared with us his kind of work. He has done analyzed 200 commentaries, including Adi Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya, and Madhvacharya. And he shared what he thought, will be useful in our discussion from the 14 and 15. So I'll come back to that, but let's just stick to going from 9 to 10. I love this thing, at least in my view. Sahayagyah prajasreshwa purovacha prajapati. So that Prajapati Brahma, he also uses a system, Sahayagya. So what you are saying, offering our karma. So here a total offering, when it's a total offering, it's not a little offering that you're doing. And your karma is being offered, and that offering in Gita seems to be what yagya means. There are many, many other meaning of yagya here. But for me, or for this discussion, I feel that, whatever we are offering, and as long as it's the complete offering, it's not holding back, no footprints left. It's just given and gone. It's not like I have given this. You don't have that feeling. So from that, sahayagya means, it's like some sort of process the creator uses to create the universe. And later we will also, when we come to 14, 15, we see that even karma is also created from Brahma. So it's like when you say prakriti gunas, it's like grass is growing, wind is blowing, clouds are in the sky, and everything is happening. If the grass gets consciousness, like human consciousness, it might start thinking that it is growing by itself. It is making someone come and cut the grass. So it can start interpretation like man, buddhi, ahankar can come in the grass, and it becomes like that. So we can take that logic and put it to ourselves that are we doing the same thing? I mean, yes, we are here. We are, niyatam kuru. We have some work to do, and we are doing it. And it's all happening through this, gunas and also some exterior forces. I mean, it's a design. It's a cosmic design that we are part of.
Yes, it's a cosmic cycle, and our role there is to as a karma yoga, offer our actions as oblation, okay, or offering to our creator.
Creator
Okay.
or gods, right? He talks about Devan bhavayatanena, te
Yes,
deva bhayantu va.
yes. Actually,
So you give
actually,
it to devas give it back to you. So
that's
it's
right.
like that cycle.
Yes,
There is a mention of chakra here. So
yes.
a
Actually,
spiritual cycle, we can say.
this is, I think, when he talks about devas, he's talking about Saguna Brahman.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
That
purely Sagun Brahm. Yeah.
so this cycle, we offer our actions, then the Saguna Brahman, okay, or the Ishvara becomes pleased with us, creates some natural events, and then which is beneficial to us. And this is the cycle keeps on going.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is the cycle of the material physical world.
I mean, one thing, Amitabh, I always feel when we read Gita or when we read Ramayana or any of those, they talk about devas as if they were communicating, many of them. So it was a different evolution of civilization like we have right now. Just go back 100 years. Or if, go back 100 years later, if we have some sort of pralay, you can't imagine that people can travel to Mars. So, or email, for letter. I mean, when we used to write letters, I mean, that's in our generation. We could have never thought about, even now, I mean, this Zoom discussion, I mean, so all these things, and suppose that parampara is lost and 100 years later someone says, oh, we had a vehicle to go to Mars. So there has been progress in certain areas, and maybe in Krishna's time or Ram's time, the progress was in a different direction, and they had cracked the code of knowing the other universe. It's like parallel universe. I mean, where do we go when we die, or what happens before we come? So there was a little more understanding and learning. So Krishna could talk this language to Arjuna, and Arjuna got it. Like Brahma, probably they understood Brahma. I mean, even Arjuna went to Himalaya to get some training and Shastra from Shiva. And ultimately he found him. So there was a process to do this thing. And we are trying to explain something that we don't really have too much understanding of. Or from our understanding, we are trying to interpret their understanding at that time.
Yeah, once again, I mean, our perception is from our knowledge and our sense objects.
Yeah.
Okay. So whether it existed or not, because we cannot imagine, we cannot perceive, some people say that no, it didn't exist, but there is a possibility.
Yeah.
Definitely. Just because we do not know, it doesn't mean that it didn't exist. That is it. That is how the facts are founded. So, but getting back to it, here he talks about this cycle in the material world where the Creator created the human beings with a instruction or a manual that go do your action as an offering. If you offer, if your actions are offered, then the devas or the Saguna Brahman, the representative or manifestation of the Brahman, abstract God who manifests in uh, characters who has got the three traits, they will be pleased, and then through some cosmic event created by those devas will bring you the fruits of your action. And this is a cycle. Okay.
Yeah.
You offer, they please, they offer you something in return. Now this cycle is obviously sometimes meddled by our ego desire complex.
Yeah.
Okay. And
So
and
then
we'll
you
see
go back to that cycle, ego, desire, complex, whatever that
that's right.
consequences are of that one. So, and as
That's
I
right.
said, most of us live there.
That's right.
Our goal is to, get to a different level. And one of the things he says that, it's like, I like this idea of giving and receiving. So this is an economy. It's a different economy. The more you give, the more you get. And it it's strange, I mean, there is no proof or anything, but I know, it's like I've seen people who are givers, and they always have enough to give. It's anecdotal evidence, if I say of, one or two examples, but in general, that's what they're saying, that it's more like giving and receiving. Can we have an economy like that? It's like when the COVID came, India went and gave vaccine to many countries free. So that is a free giving. And then sometimes people say, oh, but that country didn't reciprocate. So this reciprocal giving and receiving, I feel sometimes that if you do a good karma, if you are giving, you do get it back. It may not be from the same source. Have you had that experience?
That is true. Yes. Yes. Sometimes, actually, giving is truly giving when you do give without any expectation.
Right.
Okay. And that kind of giving causes a vibe which you get for which you get the return. If we give with expectation, that is not giving, that's lending.
That is lending, I agree. But as a cycle of giving and receiving, yeah, you give it, without expectation, but you do receive. I mean, that's what this
That is
verses
right.
are saying, that giving and receiving, not only to other people, but to devatas, devas. And sometimes I always wondered, it's like you only consume food when you are in a physical form, like you have a physical body. So why are we offering this food to the devatas or devis who are not going to eat it or consume it? And some people make the presumption that, yes, sometimes they do, but I think it's the offering part, right? It's the giving, is the offering, is that bhavana, right?
Exactly. When we offer some food materials to these deities,
Yeah.
okay, what are we doing basically? One, we show reverence, and
Yeah.
second, we are offering food, which is the most important part for maintaining our body.
Yeah.
Okay? That is a huge giving. Okay. Now, if we remove the idea that this food that we are offering is going to be boomerang and we are the one who are going to consume, then the whole thought process behind it creates problem, because you become, in that case, you create bondage with the offering.
Yeah.
The food that you are. On the other hand, if we are offering and then we get something, whether it is eaten, whether it is taken or not, it is that state of mind that is important. This offering
Yeah.
and the state of offering of the mind and the action is the yagna.
So it's the bhavana that you're,
Exactly.
yeah. It's not just yeah.
It's not just the action, it
Yeah.
is the action with that thought process.
The intention behind it.
Intention, yes.
Yeah. So then we come to the one, that Professor Ramesh Patel, and I agree with him, says that of all the 700 verses, 14, 15 is the most difficult to interpret. So we will not go in a scholarly way, but we will go very simple way and simple understanding and what it means to us as a practical, application. That's, as you say, concept learning that we are doing. So I won't be quoting all those swamis and our reverend, Shankaracharya or anybody, with all due respect to everybody who has done it. Annad bhavanti bhutani. This part is, I understand. We eat, we nourish. So the food nourishes us. Parjanya, then anna sambhava, the rain, the water kind of is important for producing the grain. On yagyat bhavati parjanyo. And this is where this starts now. Yagya is the what causes the rain. And how does yagya, how does kind of this surrendering, the offering, how does this cause rain? And there are kind of explanations after explanations, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you sit down and create a yagya vedi and you do havan and rain will happen. Although some people do that for that, but yagyat bhavati parjanyo, yagya karma samudbhava. And so it starts from karma. That offering of the karma is yagya. And that in turn, the good waves or good vibes or, the goodness around is what is helping this whole rain process to happen. The scientist will say rain happens because water is absorbed from sun, and then they forms cloud and the clouds get heavy and rain. But why will it rain where I am? There, I think my offering as a yagya is going to play a role. This is how I understand it, Amitabh.
To me, it's more metaphorical. All that it means to me that if you have good actions as offering,
And good
it
vibrations.
it causes good vibe and it gives you good result, even
Yeah.
at the cosmic and natural level.
I totally understand that. That for all practical purposes is a good explanation. And yes, when you do good karma, like if you are doing, offering your karma, it's like total offering, unconditional, then it becomes yagya. And then you have this. So it's like the butterfly effect, right? A butterfly in somewhere in South America jungle is flapping the wings, and they say it has effect like thousands of miles away. So this effect, it's very much like that. Like little action on our part can have major effects.
Look at a simple example: reforestation and deforestation.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, it does change if everybody does it in a larger scale. It does change the nature and the natural events.
Yeah, plant a tree.
Plant a
This
tree, a
this
whole
whole
bunch of
movement
them.
of plant a tree
Yes,
is
instead
coming
of
from your heart. It's like,
yeah.
yeah,
So the point I am trying to make is that our good actions, given as offering rather than not in a selfish way but selfless way,
yeah,
can create a vibe for a very good, for a very nourishing world.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Uh,
I mean, un is a kind of, as you said, metaphorical example, because un is not the only thing you want, right? I mean,
that's right.
un can just sustain you. Our life is to evolve further than that. So un is
Uh,
just an example that Krishna chooses.
That's right.
Yeah,
And food is mentioned because this is something which sustains life for us. So it is very,
yeah,
very important. So that's the example of anna, or the food or the grain. Okay. And rain is needed for those grains to come up. Okay. So
yeah,
again, I get back to this concept that our good deed done as an offering in a selfless way creates a vibe, and we get a return from nature, a cosmic process. And
yeah.
devas are probably who returns it according to this verse. But besides that, the result turns out to be nourishing one.
No, that's good. Yeah, I want to go back to this verse 9, because there, when Brahma creates, one of the things he says, Kam Dhenu.
Yes.
Like, so, yeah, go and nourish each other, receive and give and receive, it's like, but I love this give and receive concept. Wish we could have an economy based on that. At the moment, it's a tax and tariffs. I tax you, you tax, someone else. That's the whole system we live in. But giving and receiving can be a economy, or at least discussed. I don't know if it can be discussed. Evam pravartitam chakram. So this is when he says this cycle you are nanuvartayati haya. Those people who go with the cycle, their karma is not a binding. Those who break the cycle and live just for themselves, things are different for them. Karma is a binding, which is okay. Many of us do karma that is binding, but our goal is to go beyond that.
Our goal is liberation.
Yeah.
Okay.
When you say liberation, are you meaning moksha?
Yes.
Okay.
Going beyond the bondage of the results of action.
Yeah.
Okay. So as long as we have that desire and the bondage, whatever actions we do, we are tied to the results. Our emotions are always tied to the results. And therefore, with success and failures, there will be upheaval of emotions. Okay.
So it's
Now,
an interesting thing you said, our goal is moksha, or liberation from all these things. But there is also, I have read, Amitabh, and probably, you will remember a quote or something for that, is that it's not only our goal is moksha. Every soul is going for moksha, whether we know it or not. So that is the journey, the whole journey of life, death, and beyond. I mean, in India or Hindu, we believe in reincarnation or recycle. But even if you don't believe, the goal is to get beyond. I mean, that's what the soul wants. Or that's, if soul wants anything, soul wants to know itself.
I
Because soul is
cannot
lost
help
right
but
now with what is that? Mirror is covered.
yeah, mirror is covered with the dust.
Yeah.
And when you remove that dust, we see it. I cannot
Yeah.
help but quote something. The famous Upanishadic verse, Sinnantu Vishwe, and the last line there, Nanyam Pantha Vidyate Hanaya. There is no other path, but you will come to realization.
Yeah. So that is the path, whether you know it or not, whether you accept
Right.
it or not. Say
We
it
are
again.
all,
What is that verse?
the verse starts with Sinnantu Vishwe Amrita Chaputra.
Yeah.
And it's a famous verse.
Yeah.
And the last line is that Nannam Pantha Vidyate Hanaya. Okay.
Amrita se putra. Yeah.
There's no other path but it will lead to me, as Brahman tells.
Mhm.
Okay. So yes, we are doing all these actions towards freeing or freedom from bondage. Now, somebody takes a little circuitous route until they understand that our actions has becomes offering, and then when they realize it, we get out of that bondage.
So, Amitabh, today we talked about, the usual desire pathway. Then we talked about this cycle, that you can work according to the cycle. And next time we will talk about how to transcend this cycle. It's not that there is something wrong with this cycle. It's going beyond that, going to a different level. That's where Krishna takes Arjuna next. So he said, stay with the cycle, follow the path of the cycle. Like, if you are in USA, you drive on the right side of the road. If you are in India, you drive on the left side of the road. And there will be fewer accidents. Don't try to go against the traffic. So don't try to go against the kind of what Brahma has created and do this giving and receiving. But then there is another pathway, which in my, three summary that I had, desire pathway, intrinsic pathway, which is this cycle, and then the pathway of, you are working for the universe. You are working for Paramatma. So that goes to a different level. So we'll talk about that next time.
नियतं कुरु कर्मत्वं कर्म ज्यायो ह्यकर्मणः शरीरयात्रापि च ते न प्रसिद्ध्येद कर्मणः।
तू शास्त्र विहित कर्तव्य कर्म कर, क्योंकि कर्म न करने की अपेक्षा कर्म करना श्रेष्ठ है, तथा कर्म न करने से तेरा शरीर निर्वाह भी नहीं सिद्ध